Good evening, classmates. Welcome to this. I am back home from the tundra, back from traveling, which I normally despise, but Mrs. Ellen and I had a very fruitful and a very productive trip. I will tell you that without a doubt, if you ever want to see the complete and total decline of the American civilization, just go to an airport. Go to an airport, preferably fly into or fly out of Kennedy. And let me tell you something. Oh, man. Special shout out to the LaFonda bonnet. This exceedingly interesting silk kind of, I guess you'd call it a silk sort of, I guess you'd call it like a shower cap. Very, very big in certain contingents of various communities. It indicates to somebody, I'm ready for trouble. I am ready for trouble. When mixed with those Cardi B lenses, those lashes, we are ready for Freddy. And all the while wearing pajamas, yoga pants, and slides with the ankle socks, those slides. And you have your official uniform. Oh my God, it's just terrific. Tattoos aplenty. Tattoos where there's no end in sight for that monstrosity, which basically says, I have no soul. I have no imagination. I have no sense of anything. I am without the ability at all to think independently. But anyway, my friends, one of these days is just absolutely so terrific. We have so much to talk about, so much. First of all, welcome. Thank you, my friends. Thank you for being a part of this. Where do we begin? In no particular order. I want to tell you that Candace is absolutely, positively, 100% on fire. And I find it wonderful and terrific that she is on fire, that she is in the middle of oh my God, she is just showing the world exactly how it is done. Just incredible. Just absolutely incredible. And how most people don't really understand what this is about. Interestingly enough, every now and then somebody will say, Candace Owens is a sellout, or Candace Owens, or you're gonna realize you made a mistake siding with her. I don't know why I'm siding with her. It just makes sense. And I ask people, why are you bothering? Go to another channel, go someplace else where you don't have to deal with this. I'm just saying. I am just saying, absolutely, positively. It just goes to show you how this thing works. But let me just tell you something. She is, why people take her on, I haven't the foggiest idea. Why? Why do you think they do it? Why do they do this? What do you think is the reason? What do you think is the reason for her or for them to say, I'm going to sue her? She probably has more litigation experience than most people do. More litigation experience than a lot of folks. I mean, a lot of folks. Because when you've been basically in the front part of this, you realize this is a very, very serious thing. And the lawsuits are so stupid. I'm not finding anything. I'm reading them. You should really feel a really sense. Like this Brian Harpole. I'm reading this. I'm thinking to myself, how do I say this? Mr. Harpole, is anybody interested in him seriously? What's your first reaction when you see yet another lawsuit? Don't you think to yourself, oh my God, another one? Another one of these? Donovan Beaton says Daily Wire cleaned house. You know what? We're going to be getting that to that. Let go half of the staff. Let's talk about that. Talk about the Alex Jones at the end of InfoWars today, which is very sad, which is just a minor hiccup. Minor hiccup. We'll talk about that. By the way, I always feel sorry for the people who work for Daily Wire and realize that if you got rid of maybe Ben Shapiro, things might be better. What does Ben Shapiro do? Kitty Whiskers says Erika watched movies on TikTok to learn how to cry, scrunch face, and speak inaudibly, but still no tears. Can't learn how to snot cry, how to feel it for real. That is true. And as you know, and thank you, by the way, and as you know, Grandpa has always told you, the thing that I find the most interesting about all of her crying and her feigned performative lacrimation is the fact that she never blows her nose. She never needs that to blow her nose. It is incredible. Incredible. And they're still talking this. Have you seen this pathetic Charlie Kirk show? What is this? What is this sniveling group of, I don't know what these people are. Absolutely blaspheming the good name of Charlie Kirk. It's enough to make you sick. You know what I mean? It's enough to make you sick. Makes me, Ben Shapiro, Daily Whiner. Barron's F.L. Bailey was spot on last night. He was very, Barron's F.L. Bailey. Oh, did not see that. I was, as you can imagine, traveling, but he was excellent. Barron going through the various iterations of these lawsuits. But when you read a lawsuit, you want to make sure there's a real, you know what I mean? You know, when you read, and by the way, don't be surprised if the Brigitte Macron case just goes, bye-bye. Just kind of goes off, kind of like, I hate to say it, like Nancy Guthrie, just like, bye-bye. What happened? I don't know, just bye-bye. When you read those allegations, you say, wow, I understand this. Whoa, this is good. She called him a dude. Maybe he is, she is. Okay, but that's a good one. That's where you can understand. Say, I got it. These other people, I think they feel like maybe, perhaps they can somehow gain notoriety. I don't know. Being litigious and looking like a sniveling little bitch. No one in particular. It makes you wonder. It's very effeminate. Hey, if you don't mind me. Like this Charlie Kirk says, this, and then she said this, and she said, it's so I don't know what the word is. I'm not suggesting that women are weak. I'm not at all suggesting that for the life of me. But what I'm saying is there's something very, very catty about it. Very, very unimpressive and very unattractive about that. Next, you mentioned Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro has attracted no one. Ben Shapiro is trying to please the base. Tonight, I'm going to be please, if you could, from 2 until 5, Saturdays and Sundays. I do this wonderful little thing on WABC. It's called Another Side of Midnight. I prefer the edge of wetness. Remember that great line from Johnny Carson? In any event, and we're going to be talking a little bit about how the people who are in the cause don't ask whether the cause is being promulgated. If you're trying to promote something, whether it's children or young people or whatever it is, if you're trying to promote something, you want to get new people in, do you not? The other night we had somebody here who was 19 years old. Please, if anybody is 19 or 18, please let me know. And staff, please let me know. I want to welcome them because I want you so much to understand that we are the cool kids. And what we do is we look, at least here, we look at things kind of microscopically, surgically. We don't look at things that are well, I don't know what the word is. We don't look at things per usual in any event. And one of the things which I don't understand is who thinks that Ben Shapiro, who thinks that Ben Shapiro is attractive to new people? When do you think they're going to stop this trope that X now is anti Semitic? The word anti Semitic has officially gone into the lane of racist. You know, and I know everything is racist. Everything is racist. They blew out the word racist. It means nothing. They blew out the word. You hear what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying? Everything's racist. If you bring something up that deals with race, you're a racist. If you say something they don't like, you're a racist. It's a way of shutting you down. There's no interest in you actually being determined whether you are racist. They're not trying to stop racism. They have no interest in racism per se. What they have an interest in, and this is very important, what they have an interest in is something a little bit different. What they have an interest in is trying to just shut you down. So what they've done is they have taken the word anti-Semitic, which has a place, has a role. It is valid. It does exist. It does exist. What you're supposed to do with it, I don't know. Just like there are racists, there are anti-Catholic, and there's you name it. There's misogynistic and homophobic and everything else. These words exist. These concepts exist. They exist. Do you hear what I'm saying? They exist. Okay. Now, what's interesting to note, what's fascinating to note, is as follows. What they want you to do is they want you to be able to stay away from being called that. So what you do is you'll just say, you know what? I'm not going to say anything about the United States and the Middle East and Gaza or Lebanon or Israel and how much money, funds, weapons, how much military assistance we should be involved in. I'm afraid of being called that, so I'm not going to say anything. You see how this works? You see how it works? I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to bring up the fact. I'm not going to say anything, because I'm so afraid of this. And that's what they've done. It's a very interesting thing. In order to shut you up regarding any problems you might have regarding the president, the government, Congress, allocating money. Did you hear they wanted to give, did I hear correctly? Either health benefits or veterans benefit, anyway, benefits to IDF soldiers. I thought this has got to be a mistake. This has got to be a mistake. That doesn't make any sense at all. It's not even well, we were doing it, by the way, we were helping the pension systems in Ukraine. Remember that one? So maybe it is possible. Anyway, there was no anti-Slavic term for our disgust over that. In any event, so whenever this came up, people said, I can't say anything about it because I don't want to be called anti-Semitic, even though you're not bringing anything up regarding Judaism. And I don't care what anybody says. Don't make a connection between Bibi Netanyahu and Judy. It doesn't work. So anyway, so that's where we are. So that's what Ben Shapiro, as Daily Wire just collapses, what does he says? He says the same thing. Ladies and gentlemen, Tanny says, I used to be a very big Shapiro fan, even gifted Daily Wire memberships. Haven't watched since they fired Candace. Weird how everything they touch withers and it dies. Sad to see how feckless their talent unveil themselves to be. Absolutely. Thank you, by the way, Tanny. It's true. The messages are so stupid. They're so stupid. And what's also interesting is I'm hearing people say some things where I'm thinking, oh my God, this one kind of makes sense. Remember that Cori Bush? Remember Cori Bush? Remember her? She was from St. Louis. Cori Bush. She had her, they say that her position she lost. She was primaried by, they said, by APAC. She was exceedingly very loud, very, very loud. Said, I'm going to go after you. She said things about the United States involving themselves in funding foreign militaries. It makes complete and total sense. I'm thinking Cori Bush, Nick Fuentes has said some things that are about a variety of subjects, up to and including J.D. Vance and Trump and MAGA and America First, that make complete sense. Other things you just disagree with, which is another story. You do not have to like an entire album to like the group. Or we all have a group that we don't particularly care for, but there's one song they do and go, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. You know, I'm sorry. I like the Go-Go's. Our lips are sealed. I'm sorry. I'll say it. I may not be big fans of everything else, but the Bangles, walking down the street and walk like an Egyptian. If she knew what she wants, Manic Monday. Okay. So what I'm saying is, I listen to what people say, and if somebody says something that makes sense or doesn't make sense, I listen to what they say. I don't adopt what they say. I don't embrace them or reject them. I'm right now having a hard time. Are you? How many of you are having a hard time with President Trump? It's like, what are you doing? And now the latest, did you hear there's some type of an AI energy war center, certainly under the ballroom? Have you heard that? This is what the ballroom is about. Have you heard this one? Ooh-wee. Ooh, this is funny. The White House ballroom. And what I do is this. Go to X, look in that little microscope there. White House ballroom, the ballroom. And by the way, as you get older, ballroom is important, my friends. Look at this. Force Field LLC military team analysis, new White House underground bunker by veteran engineers and force co-op specialists, decades in combat engineering, they're saying. They're saying there's a massive bunker under the new ballroom. It's not insurance. It is a warning. Something serious, they say, is coming. They're saying the White House East Ballroom project, Donald Trump, they got the architects. It's all there. Everybody's saying this. And even they asked Caroline Levitt, what about this? What about this? When he said, well, I can't really tell you. And you can go back and you can look at these. You can see this in the ballroom, and they say this is one of the reasons why they're so incredibly crazy about this, and why they're absolutely just fixated on this. So, is that true? Well, with all due respect, you're going to have it at the White House? At the White House? Is that where you want to have the ballroom? This bunker, this whatever this thing is at the White? You've got situation rooms. What is so special about this? Other people are going to find that out. I don't understand. It doesn't make intuitive sense to me. But this is what they're talking about. They're suggesting this is why this is why it's so important. This, I'm telling you, they're saying, now you understand. Now you understand. See, this is the story. Doesn't it kind of make sense to you right now? All of this talk about the ballroom. There's a discussion about a bunker. Have you heard this? Have you heard this one? What are they saying? What's the truth? What are the insinuations? What are the hints? It's fascinating. And remember why everybody's talking about it. Everybody knows about it. I don't know what they're just say yes or no. This is the most important thing in the world. This it's one of those things which, of course, if you go, they're suggesting that it's really nothing that big of a deal. But the way they react to it, and sometimes I think they like to specifically make us wonder. They would like us to be excited about things. Now, also, it's very critical for us, my friends, to understand that today is the official end of InfoWars. This should really scare you. But again, people will say whether they like Alex Jones or not, they will somehow reduce this into whether they like Alex Jones. And it has something to do with whether you like him or not. That's not the issue. It's not whether you like Alex Jones. It's what does this mean? And I hope you understand, my friends, that one of the reasons why this is so important, why everybody here should be very critical, very, very nervous about this, is because of the fact that what he did was he basically claimed to revise or to dispute history. He had a different version of Sandy Hook. He thought that Sandy Hook either didn't make sense or something was wrong with it. But and also there were some talks. This is where it gets a little bit stickier. When perhaps family members were themselves ridiculed or harmed or hurt or threatened by virtue of his by virtue of his anger. And that might be kind of sort of. But let me tell you what we're talking about. There are people who don't believe we landed on the moon. There are people who don't believe the official story of 9/11 or the Vietnam War. We are historical revisionists every day of the week. You should pay very close attention as to what they did to him. It was set out they wanted to shut him down, not because of what he said. They wanted him shut down once and for all. He's not going to go. He's going to be in an iteration that's probably going to be bigger than ever. And I hope, though I have no reason to believe this or suspect it, I hope that he gets some huge infusion of cash from someone, from an Elon or maybe somebody you don't know, because he was the original. Before there was Barron, and before there was Candace, and before there was a lot of folks. There was him, and he started on just basically cable access, and he is to be absolutely positively lauded. Again, people say, I don't always agree with him. It doesn't matter whether you always agree with him. I don't know what that means. Why do people feel the need for this? Why? Next. It is becoming more and more apparent and more frightening to people that Tucker Carlson, they're talking about him running because they like what he's doing. And if you think about this, he's very, 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 very close to that which is a message of Charlie. Think about what he's doing. Think about what his message is. Think about they're almost identical, though the styles were different. What Charlie said, he's saying. And Tucker right now is a proponent of, he talks about things which are very Catholic or Christian in their notion, in their area, which I think is terrific. Notice how Russell Brand is trying desperately to become super Christian by virtue of these lawsuits or prosecutions that are coming his way. It's fascinating how that is coming about. You see, my friends, there's so much that's going. And then we have the apotheosis, the beatification of Candace Owens, who gets better and better and better and better. And it's driving people crazy. They can't stop her. Every time they sue her, she becomes more popular. Every time something happens, people love her. They're missing the point. They love her. And I know they don't want to hear this, but they love her. TPUSA is dying. Erika's a fucking joke. She's the worst joke anybody's ever seen. She can't even, the other day she's doing her, I guess her prompter froze or something. She can't even do this. She can't even bullshit. Steven Salty says, Russell Brand is a degenerate piece of crap. Don't hold back, Steve. Please. Don't hold back. Please. For the love of God. I will tell you right now, if Tucker Carlson is on, or if Tucker Carlson is on the ballot, I'm voting for him. Waste of time. I have so had it with what appears to be the end of prototypical paleo conservative, whatever this stuff is. I don't know what you call it. There are people right now who think that because they always want to replicate the platforms and the media that they enjoyed. They want talk radio from the Rush Limbaugh days, or Bill O'Reilly, and they're fine people, nothing wrong with them, but that was then. And there's a new group of people out there who says, look, if we want to get them, what are we going to do? Let me ask you something. What are we doing? Have you tried talking to your children, to your sons and daughters? What do you tell them? Come on, come our way. What do you do to attract them? What is the shiny trinket that lures them in? What? Who is it? J.D. Vance, Palantir, Marco Rubio, Pete Hegseth? Huh? What is going to lure these young people? I ask you again, dear friends, what are we going to do? This movement, many of you right now who are watching, just me, just little old me at the nation, just little old me. Many of you came on board because of Candace, and we thank you for that. And you're saying, you know what? I'm not sure we're going to argue or discuss politics, but I kind of like you folks, and I like what you're saying. And you know what? Okay, great. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Indeed. Thank you. Now, the question then becomes, what do we believe in? I don't know. When they come into this, do you think we are going to win? Yes or no? Give me a 1 or a 2. Tell me your honest opinion. I'm just asking you. Do you think we're going to get passels, hordes, groups of young people in our group, in our cadre, in our coven, so to speak, in our consortium, if we maintain and continue our, if we maintain and continue our foreign policy regarding the Middle East and Israel and Iran, do you think we're going to win them? You think they're going to say, yes, this is good? Where we can blow up more people and hear more stories about little girls being killed and that the Strait of Hormuz, and wait till the price of gas is going to skyrocket. Do you think they want to hear about how we took and we invaded and we boarded their ships? Do you think anybody? Do you? I mean, just give up. Not only that, members, huge swaths of people already here who are saying, I don't want to do this. How can you say that you are against American intervention and American support for Ukraine, but say nothing about what's happening regarding Israel? Tell me. Please tell me that. I beg you. Tell me. How does this work? How does this work? Tell me. I'm not trying to be cute. I'm not trying to make a joke. I'm telling you the truth. How does this work? How do I say, no, this is different? See, no, this is important. See, because we have to blast Lebanon and Hezbollah. Why? Because they're bad people. And we have to go after, Hamas because they're bad people. And the Houthis, don't even know who they are, but we have to go because they're bad people. See, they're bad people. And they pose a threat to us. How? They just do. They just do. We've and if Iran gets a nuclear weapon, they're gonna fire it over here at us. They're gonna drop a nuke on Cleveland. Yes, that's stupid. You're right, and we'll annihilate them. But that's how crazy these people are. So crazy, they're going to nuke us if they get. We have to just blow the shit out of these people because they're going to get a nuclear weapon. And if they get a nuclear weapon, like we do, and Israel does, and everybody else has, things will change because they're crazy. They're beyond crazy. They're like, I mean, they're crazy. They throw gay people off a wood foot. They're crazy. You think anybody buys that? You think anybody buys that? Stay away from the word genocide. Stay away from the word. Trust me, you're going to lose. Even though the ICC, the ICJ, and the genocide statutes all show, and it is basically axiomatic that under the definitions right now at law, under the operating definitions of genocide, what is happening in Gaza, absolutely pursuant to those, it qualifies. But there are words like genocide, Holocaust. Don't use them. Call it anything. Call it a disaster. Call it a massacre. Call it anything you want. Because I heard people the other day, but they're still there. You can't have. There's no genocide in Gaza because they're still there. And if we wanted to, or anybody wanted to, wipe them off. But that's not what a genocide is. That's what they think it is. And they're not going to read a statute that fine-tunes that particular way of thinking. They're not going to do it. So stop using that word. You don't have to use it. You don't have to use it. Show them the movie. Show them the pictures. Show them. Don't worry about it. Show them. That's all. Just show them. And what we have here, which is very, very important, what we have is something very, very serious. We are at a very pivotal point in our development as a humanity, as a people, as a country, as a civilization. We are at a crossroads. I have never seen anything like this. And you're going to meet people who are, believe it or not, they are good people. They are good people. But they believe in their heart of hearts that this situation with Iran and Hamas is so different that what you can do, you can just pulverize, eliminate, just desiccate, destroy every living, breathing, cellular. And they'll say, you got to do it. You got to do it and they believe this. And I'm telling you, they're not crazy. They're not, they believe it in their heart of heart. I've got a suggestion for you. Don't waste your time. I don't waste my time talking to anybody like that. I just don't waste. They're going to be there. The majority of the world does not think like that, however. If you're old enough to remember Vietnam, we saw this then. Steve Salty says, I trust my local crackhead more than TPUSA. At least they're honest when they're robbing you. LOL. I don't know if they're going to be robbing anybody right now because I got to tell you something. I don't know if, I don't know who's going to be who is giving money to TPUSA now? Seriously, what is it going for? To promote what? More Gulfstream 4s? Or you see where Floyd Mayweather Jr. is on the balls of his ass? After all that money he ran through, it's just, it's incredible. I asked myself, how do you do that? Tucker Carlson would have my vote. Absolutely. Symbolic, perhaps. Perhaps. But if all of a sudden they say, whoa, look at that. Bernie Sanders had it until he sold out. Bernie Sanders, I kind of admired him because he really, really, really was something. He was good. And he just turned his back on these people. Big time, big time. You were here because of Candace initially, most probably. You were here because of very kind words and other. But now that you're here, we have to say, okay, what are we going to do next? Candace is not going to always be here. They're going to get rid of this. Erika's going to go away. They're going to bounce her ass out of there, and there's not going to. And then TPUSA is going to fold. So what are we going to do? Donovan says, need someone with no foreign donors. America first and going to hold war criminals and PDFers accountable. Absolutely. Which leads me to this, my friend. When I see the President of the United States kissing the arse of King Charles, it makes me want to vomit. Did you see my interview with our good friend with Sean Atwood? He knows more about Mountbatten, the pederasts, the predators, the sick, vile, almost satanic, Luciferian, reptilian. These people are the worst of the worst of the worst. And Trump is kissing this guy's ass? No. They don't do dick for us. Nothing. He is a fraud. They iron his shoelaces. They iron his shoelaces. He doesn't live like normal people. It's probably the Windsors. They are probably the biggest, richest people on the planet. More than anybody else. I don't know if President Trump really, I don't know if he just thinks he's cool or he's a king, or maybe Melania could get dressed up with the hat and all that stuff. You know, I got news for you. Can I just say something here? I am not Diana Vreeland, or I don't want to say Anna Wintour. I'm not Bob Mackie, or I don't know, or Christian Dior, but it takes a real special person to wear some funky hat that nobody ever wears, except once a year when one of these people show up. If you wore them all the time, that's one thing. Those people wear those hats all the time. But there's something weird about it. It's like, what are we doing? With all due respect, Mrs. First Lady, and by the way, she's just a queen consort. She's not, whatever. But still, we don't try to mimic them. Don't wear a hat like that. That's not your style. We don't wear hats like that. We don't do that. You're basically saying like you want to be cool, like you think these people are worth. I love the British people. I love, especially Geordies in Newcastle. I love them. But this government, this consanguineous, these Habsburg jaw, inbred, monozygotic, homozygotic mutants, I despise them. And to see our commander-in-chief and our chief executive playing footsie with this guy, walking around with the white tails. Oh, come on. And then these stupid things. And these other people who sit around and they say, oh, here I am with a cake. Do you know who this guy is? How dare you? You're an American. And you're going over there to what? To kiss this guy's ass? For what? Because you're some media whore, some star effer, so you can put it in your Instagram account. Look at me. I'm standing next to, look at me. I'm standing next to this. Right here with you standing. I got something for you to stand next to. My lint brush. That's who I'm standing next to. I can't stand these star effers, which is exactly what they are. They live and breathe to be, look, I'm standing next to them. Ugh. You got to be kidding me. I think to myself, do I have to give these people a lesson? Do I have to remind these people who we are and what we're all about? We've lost our soul. They should want to take pictures with us, not the other way around, with this ridiculous, this monarchic nonsense that's going on there. It's absolutely ridiculous. And these people make me sick to my stomach. Okay. Now, here's something else which is interesting. I want to go back and I want to say something to you. My friends, we're going to have to change. We need Candace, we need Tucker, and we need some other people too. I think Ian Carroll is coming back. He's interesting. You know who else is pretty doggone good? You know who else is really amazingly, well, first of all, Joe Rogan is just aces. Sorry. He has such a panoply, such a range of subjects. It's incredible. But a guy who's really, really grown on me, Theo Von. Theo Von actually gets it. He plays this kind of this retard, like, I don't know, they stole our porch. Did you know that? I was a crack addict. Okay, Theo. And he was a crack addict, and he said one time we didn't have any moisture from my eyeballs. We are rising in the UK, Lionel, and restoring good. Hail Britannia. God bless you and your wonderful people, and not these people. But Theo Von, I listen to him. He has this way of disarm. He was with this little kid who had some type of like a genetic disease where she was blind. And he was talking to her so open. So he was with what's his name? The fellow who did the video of Erika, Bruzy, Doozy, the black dude who's very funny, the comedian. He's on with him. He's on with Trump. He's on with this one. He's real. Tim Dillon is very good too. Isn't Tim Theo anti-Semitic? No, he's not. Drewski, thank you so much for that. Tim Dillon's good too. Tim Dillon's actually, believe it or not, funny. There's a woman, I'm not going to mention it. First of all, I'm terrible to say this, but I think there are some comedians that are very good. This Nikki Brazer, whatever. She's actually very funny. Got great delivery. She's very, very good. She's really good at that. There are some people who are really good deliverers. Louis C.K. is great at that. People who can do it. Anyway. But there was this woman, she fancied herself as a Larry Lumatic. I don't know what the hell that is. There's one, I'm not going to mention her name, but she says, she uses words like liberal. Her shtick is, I'm a conservative, and what she is she's a Fox Newser or a Fox snoozer. She basically is America's second. She does the same trope, the same thing. Little bit of advice. Number one, they asked a question one time. When music radio mattered, and the number one format was country music, they asked the program director for the number one station in the billable hours and the whole bit in the country. They said, why don't you ever tell people your country? And he said, if you don't know we're country, I don't want to know you. I don't want you to, then you're not for us. It's obvious we are. You don't say it. So when a comedian comes out and tells you, I'm a conservative and I'm this, no, let your information, they let them figure out what you are. Don't tell them. It's phony. It's a phony thing too. There's something you got to be real about this stuff. And you got to just be who you are. And by the way, Tim Dillon is just naturally funny. And there's so few people who are naturally funny. And I want to go through the list because people get very upset. But I think some people are good comedians, but they're not funny. They're comedians. There are good people. There are people who are like Michelin star chefs, but they probably couldn't make you a grilled cheese to save your life. I mean, maybe they could, but I'm saying being a comedian doesn't mean you're funny. To tell people, Theo Vaughn told a joke because and I love jokes, and he actually said, he says, what's the worst thing to hear when you're performing a particular oral satisfaction mode on Willie Nelson? I'm not Willie Nelson. That was great. And he gets it. I one time worked with a bunch of people at a comedy place. Nobody told a joke. They couldn't tell a joke. They didn't know a joke. There was nothing really funny. They thought it was the attitude. And they made jokes about like SA, abuse, sexual abuse, and things involving children. And I'm thinking, this isn't funny. I mean, I'm not offended, but I mean, this isn't funny. It's not, sometimes when you say that's not funny, it sounds like you're saying it's not funny because you're offended by it. No, it's just not funny. Remember the old no soap radio? No soap radio, that kind of a thing. I mean, you know what I mean? It was the funny because of, anyway. So I don't go into who's funny, who's not, and all that kind of stuff. But there's something about it which is very, very good. And if you have that ability, if you really know what you're doing, it just comes naturally. And these people are really good. And there are people who I think, by the way, who also is, I don't want to spend too much into the clarification and the distillation of this, but who has a great sense of humor is Candace. A sense of humor is somebody who understands what's funny. He understands it. Doesn't necessarily, she's not doing a stand-up routine, but she'll laugh and giggle when she has a sense of humor when she has this sense of the absurd, because a lot of this stuff is just all absurd. It's nuts. Laura Loomer and Erika Kirk. If I did a movie, if I did just a sitcom and I did Larry Loomer, you would say this is, I said, no, this is true. You say this never happened. No, this is, remember Renee Richards? She was the male, she was a doctor, ophthalmologist who was a tennis star, first transsexual. And then Georgina, the first woman, the first one ever, Virginia. Anyway, people they never saw this before. They never saw this. So when you say, what's that? That's Renee Richards. And this Renee Richards didn't have a lot of, surgery. I mean, she just basically, or maybe he did, she didn't. I don't really know. Then there's Rachel Levine. Remember that one? Hello, I'm Rachel Levine. I'm from the Biden administration. Yeah, remember that? I said, what the hell is that? Well, if I did a show, I'm saying, get a load of Laura Loomer. Look at this. Have you heard the fake laughing yet? Have you heard her? Once you hear it, you'll never unhear it. The laughing, and then President Trump, he doesn't realize because he has Prince Charles, and she forces the laughter because I think somebody said you've got to impart some type of emotional connectiveness or connectivity, and maybe by forcing this kind of this giggle, maybe. I mean, there's a lot of baggage. That's one who is not, well, put it this way. I don't want to use words like this. That's not somebody who's got a lot of baggage. That's somebody who is deliberately shape-shifting on purpose. Erika is just the greatest thing in the world. Erika can't speak from the heart. Erika can't do it. It's hysterical. Every time she talks, I'm laughing. You know who I like is the young lady from I think she's Polish. She's from, I think she's Cyprus now. Fredo, Freddo. She was watching. She's broke out laughing because apparently she suspected that Erica's her monitor, her prompter stuck or froze or whatever it was, and she just she had to pause and they got right back into it again. She can't do it. She can't do it. And I'll bet you anything. I'll bet you with it that if you brought Erica in and said, listen, stop this crying stuff. What do you mean? You can't cry. I can't too. No, you can't. Putting up a tissue to your eyes and doing this weird kind of looking up in the whisper, that's not crying. I don't know what planet you're from. That's not crying. That's like, I know people who sometimes, if they're blooming onions late at at Outback, they react like that. They're gonna tip. You can't do it. You suck at that. I think she would look at you and she'd say, "Are you sure? Absolutely. Do you think you're good at that?" She'd say, "Yes." No. They're laughing at you. Do you know why Drewski did that? Listen to me. Do you know why Drewski mocked you? Look at me. Do you know why? Is it because of the way you look? No. Is it because of the fact that you're white? No. Or you're blonde hair? No. Or you're blue eyed? No. That's not it. It's the fact that you're full of shit. That's why. That's the reason. That's the part. Everything else came, whatever. It doesn't matter. Remember when Sarah Palin, some people said Sarah Palin looked good or looked okay. Or remember that one? They thought, oh, Sarah Palin. All right, fair enough. Remember that one? People thought that. What Sarah Palin did, what people laughed about was the fact that she was so insincere. And they laughed at her. And when Tina Fey did the imitation, it wasn't at all. They never mocked the way she looked. Never. I think in some respects, they made her look better than she actually looked. Seriously. I think she looked better than she did. Okay, if that makes any sense. I swear to God, I think she looked better. So it wasn't the way she looks. They're not mocking her looks at all. That's not happening. That's not it. It's the fact that she's stupid, that she's vapid, she's insipid. She is devoid of any kind of sincerity. That's the part. And even J.D. Vance and other people say, J.D. is like, don't stop it. But it's not how, it's not the fact she's got blonde hair. Jesus Christ, are you not paying attention? And J.D.'s no prize. J.D.'s no prize. I'm telling you, if I find out that you do it, oh my God. Erika Kirk has committed at least 5 out of 7 of the deadly sins. Maybe, I don't even know, not even if she's that sincere. I don't know. I told her the other day, all you have to do is just come out, not talk about yourself, and just say, I'm very proud of this. This is Dermot Ringwald. We gave him a scholarship. He received our first TPUSA scholarship, and he's doing a wonderful job. This is our group. This is a TPUSA. We're sponsoring summer camps where people can learn about our mission statement, limited government, kind of a von Mises, Mont Pelerin. Mont Pelerin, they meet every year. It's kind of like the Bilderberg for libertarians. And if she did this, read the prompter and just say what she's doing. And we're doing this, and we raise money, and we put our money together for. And if you want to bring up Charlie, say we have a thing that we're sponsoring where we are helping people deal with tragedy in their life, and we're basically, she could have done something very simple and not talk about herself. She can't do it. How many times you say, "Do me a favor. I'm going to write this in the prompter. Don't mention just don't mention your name. Don't mention how mad they were, how mean they are. Just don't do it. Can you do that? Can you possibly get through it?" Maybe she could. It would be, if she ever did it one time, she'd say, "You know what, that was pretty good." And if I said, "Hey, guess what? Your overnight ratings, if there are such a thing, they went through the roof. They love you. They love you. You're not selling it." Some people can't tell a joke. Some people can't sing a song. Some people can't. You can't do whatever the hell it is. You think that's you think that you have to sell it. Just say it. The woman who is the mother of this woman, the Ukrainian girl who was stabbed to death while they were in the State of the Union, she doesn't say anything. You just look at her and your heart breaks. And if she does say, she says, "Thank you. Thank you. On behalf of my daughter and my family, thank you." That's it. People are going to cry. She says nothing. This one goes on. She breaks down everything she does. And she wears that stupid hat. That hat says stupid. They say, like, "Oh, is this your cool hat? Is this your..." Why don't you wear a cowboy hat? Why don't you dress up like an older version of John Benet Ramsey? Why don't you dress up like a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, like a fool walking around with this hat on? And it's just dumb. Who was it who said, "Yeah, put the hat on"? No. What, are you going out? Are you feeling kind of like saucy? You're going to go out and you're going to ride the range with your, I mean, I can't. Things change. I told you this. I'm worried about the country, and I'm worried about the fact that young people aren't catching on to this right now. You know, there was a story in New York City years ago. And one of the things which we have to be let me tell you something, diversity, I'll show you culinary diversity. Jewish folks, Eastern Europeans, Germans brought some of the best delicatessens. I mean, wow. And they were an institution, not necessarily Jewish, not necessarily kosher. They were also German, but it was that style. Pickled, preserved, the pastrami's and the corned beef and the lox and all this stuff. Okay. Bagels. And it was so good. The Carnegie was my favorite. I was on the menu. I can show you was on the menu. It was wonderful. Oh, look at this. You're right. Donovan brings up a good one. Christy Noam has 200,000 Christy Noam has 200,000 is costumes available. You're right, though. She had the same one. She had that same kind of stupid look because she wanted to be whatever she was. Anyway, well, what happened was after we have, Katz's Deli, a famous scene from, Harry Met Sally, but she has. The Carnegie was closed, which is just the best. And there are some other ones. There are some, Barney Greengrass, and they're very, 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 very few. But the reason why is that American diets changed and American sensibilities changed. And a lot of young people were not eating heavy pastrami and matzo balls and stuff that was very filling. Again, very, very Eastern European, very, you'll see them in Brooklyn, Brighton Beach, Little Odessa, got the Russians and the Ukrainians, that borscht and the heavy, Polish. But they just said, we got to do something about this. And people said, "I don't care what you say. I like a deli." And that's what I said. Well, great. Enjoy it for as long as you can because nobody else is buying. This is not popular anymore. Don't you understand? When I was a kid, I don't care when you were a kid. Well, I thought Rush Limbaugh would never had AI to deal with. Stop thinking about the past. Quit dragging these people out because you remember sometime in the 80s when you were happy or something and you thought, "Hey, that was great." No, sometimes you got to change things. And Candace Owens is the face of something new. That's why Zoran Mamdani is there, because he's this young guy and he's smiling. He looks like he's happy. He's full of shit. Anyway, but the point is, we're doing nothing to bring in young people. And the best part about it is that they're looking at this fraud. By the way, is there anything even redeemingly, 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 is there anything even re redemptive, if you will, about Erica? No. But Candace, yes. Yes. Candace never talks about her feminine, about her being a woman, about being black. Babe, that even comes up. Never. Why should it? It's no. I mean, unless there's an issue, but not herself. Okay. UFO 920 says, is Larry Looney mentally sound? Is ignoring her the way to go? What happens if Candace Owens ignores her? Great show. Thank you. I think yes. She is, doxing everybody and all that. She's getting help from some big leaguers who basically want to use her as a conduit to get back at people. But that's just stupid. These are the same people who think that Ben Shapiro is good. I would tell Laura, look, you do whatever you want. Don't ever bring up my organization. Don't ever bring up my name. Don't ever bring up President Trump. I would fly somebody and say, you're not going to mention me. Do not bring, I don't want you to think that we're on the same page. Don't do it. Why is he doing this? I have no earthly idea why he says things, why he does things, why this Pete Hegseth says this ridiculous nonsense, kissing his ass. Mr. President, we're going to show them. We're going to exact the force of the hate and the drudge and the death and the, what are you doing? What is going on? Who talks like this? What is the purpose of this? Don't. Who are you? Who? Every time we try to get away from this idea that you're part of a particular constituency, you go out of your way to basically reinforce that very ideation. You basically reinforce this because you're speaking. Nobody is demanding that I know of, let's go to Iran and blow them up. Nobody. Oh, there's a few people here and there, but that's not. There were more people who said, let's go to Iraq. Okay. At least it was 9/11. There's not even a 9/11 here. There's nothing. Why are we doing this? And Marco Rubio is sitting back, waiting somehow, waiting for, this is critical, waiting for JD to screw up or something. Stephen Salty says, I wouldn't even, AK, not saying I got a chance, but I would run a mile even with my bad leg. Well, listen, I appreciate that. I'm not going to talk about sexual ideations about women. No, we're not going to do that. What I will tell you is simply this. She's a person who needs to be redone, reworked, repolished. And thank you, by the way, nonetheless, for your support. But this is so simple. And Candace is just blowing her away. She says something of Candace doesn't like. Blonde hair and blue eyes. Some story about that. According to Candace, all her staff, the people who work for her, all of them are. You see where this is going? Candace is winning, and they keep giving her another stupid lawsuit to make it look stupid. Now, meanwhile, she's got, this is expensive. You got to answer these things. I mean, I don't care how much money she makes. She doesn't need this. I mean, she'll do it, but she doesn't need this. It's a pain in the ass to do this. It really is a royal pain in the ass. And they drag on and they kind of, what about wolves in Wall Street and whatever, or finance and whatever? He got the cease and desist. What about him? What about those other cease and desist letters? That was stupid. These people are brain dead. Look, it comes down to this. I want you to understand something. Number one, understand first, in Candace, we trust. I know that sounds corny, doesn't it? But it's true. I trust her. If she ever lets me down, then been nice knowing you. But she hasn't. And I don't think she is. Okay? I trusted her. And I trust the way she is part of it's like watching her hit go up the charts. Tucker is speaking to people exactly the way Charlie did. Think about it. It's brilliant. He's saying what Charlie would say. President Trump has got to start. We are going to lose big time in the midterms because Republicans, and I say we, I'm not a Republican, I'm a registered independent, but I sure as hell can't get anywhere near the Democratic Party. But we've offered them absolutely nothing. Nothing. Period. This war stuff is just absurd. And the ideas about it are just bananas. Very odd, very strange. None of it makes any sense. Oh, also, by the way, Area 51, all kinds of earthquakes and the like. Unbelievable. Area 51. Also, remember Chandra Levy, the 24-year-old intern in Washington? Who was it? It was, I think, I remember it was it Robert Blake was interrupted, or anyway. But she vanished on May the 1st, 2001, just days before she planned to return home. She was in Washington. And a year later, her remains were discovered in Rock Creek Park. And authorities ruled her death a homicide, yet no one has ever been definitively held responsible. Early media attention focused heavily on her relationship with Congressman Gary Condit, but that angle ultimately led nowhere. Ingmar Guandikwe was later convicted, only to have that conviction overturned due to serious issues with witness credibility and investigative missteps. The case has remained unresolved for decades. Now, Levy's parents are raising new questions, suggesting, among other things, that her interest in UFOs, possibly connected to Condit's role on the Intelligence Committee, may have placed her in danger. They point to alleged warnings she received and are calling for greater transparency from the government regarding unidentified aerial phenomena and potential links to missing persons cases. Let me tell you, you are never going to hear, ever, anything involving UFOs, UAPs, anything. Never. Nor will you hear anything about Epstein or anything involving JFK. Never. It's complete and total lie. It's subterfuge. It's mendacity. Okay? So this is a fascinating concatenation. We know this. We know. I have a far more greater interest, I think, in UFOs and UAPs than most people do. Maybe in this room. That's okay. We all have our focus. But there is something so big regarding this. You can't believe it. And it goes to the very existence and our positioning in the world. So, my friends, I love yous. I love you. I honestly love you. Also, Kash Patel's girlfriend, maybe you heard this one. There's some talk about her already. She's going to, come on. She's going to leave old walleye, old cockeye. He's done. He's finished. Trump can't stand him because he's not cool. He's not, plus he's drinking like a fool. Just stupid. Dan Bongina is trying his best to come back. I don't know who the hell is listening to him. What does he have to say? He was there for like 9 months and he quit. I don't know. He does absolutely nothing for me. He says nothing. He's just angry. I'm going to be the tough guy. I'm a tough guy. Okay, great. Be tough by yourself. Don't count me in. You know who's a tough guy? Candace. Not a guy, but you know what I mean. All right? And so are you, my friend. So are you. All right, my friend. Have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so very much for all that you're doing. Thank you so much for your paying attention to us and giving us the chance, letting us into your heart and in your mind. Thank you for this. Seriously. Thank you. You have been, I don't know how to say this, in any other way that you have been just great. Bigger than anything anybody's ever seen. And I mean that. And I thank you for that. Because what's fun about this is not only do we kind of agree with each other, not only do we see what's going on, but we also we have this unique, I think, familial kind of thing where we get together and we get along. So it's not, it's fun and it's exciting and it's interesting and we meet and we share the same. It's I'm telling you, it is a family. I've never seen anything like this, and it's all because of Candace. It's true. If that's too much of an encomium to you, I can't help it, but it's true. All right, dear friends, thank you much. Please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. Make sure you subscribe. Subs are so important. The metrics also they care about. Okay? We have so much more to talk about, and I thank you. Thank you for this, because you are so beautiful to me. Can't you see what that woman, she's been doing to me? I think Toy Caldwell and Marshall Tucker said it best. All right, my friends, have a great and a glorious day. Thank you so much. By the way, tonight, actually Saturday morning, 2 a.m. Eastern Time, WABC. Listen to how different it is, because I can't talk to them the way I talk to you. They wouldn't know what to do. No, seriously. WABC 77. You can go to 77wabc.com. There's an app, or there's a website. There's an app for your phone. I think maybe whatever. I don't know if iHeart's got it or others have it, but they have their own WABC app, which you should listen to. All right? So this is 3 hours overnight, and these people they're so great, but they're demented. Overnight in New York, geez. Anyway, have a great and glorious night. We love you. And don't forget, the monkey's dead. Show's over, sue ya. Dad.